Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
A full moon over Charlotte, North Carolina on a 53-degree evening, a chance of rain. Anquan Bolden on the inactive list tonight. Suffered the hamstring injury while scoring a 71-yard touchdown in a win over Atlanta last weekend, a game that Ken Wisenhunt said nobody expected us to win. John Fox with a 5-2 postseason record as head coach of the Panthers.
I think that's one of the reasons that Arizona tonight just needs to come out, relax, have fun, enjoy this moment. You're on borrowed time right now. Nobody expected you to beat Atlanta. Nobody expects you to win this game tonight. Sometimes that plays into an advantage for that team.
The Carolina Panthers have won the toss. Mark Jones back deep. Neil Rackers will get things started for the Cardinals.
Something a little different here on the kickoff. Two bunches on either side.
And Goose, we are underway in Charlotte. Opening kickoff taken at the 11 by Mark Jones. Jones across the 35 and is finally dragged down from behind at midfield. Following a 39-yard return, Monty Beisel made the tackle.
What a great job by Mark Jones, just getting the catch. Look at how far he has to travel all the way to the other side. Now get back in behind your wedge. Great field, finding a running lane, some good effort there. Great field position for the Carolina Panthers.
First and 10 for the Panthers from midfield, as Jake Delhomme hands it off to D'Angelo Williams, the third leading rusher in the NFL this season. Gain of just one. Jake Delhomme celebrating his 34th birthday today. 5-2 record in the postseason for Delhomme.
I think a perfect fit for what John Fox wants to do with his team. It's about running the football, playing good defense, having sound special teams, and a quarterback with no ego. He's not worried about putting up big numbers. He wants to win football games. He wants to win championships. That's a great fit at the quarterback spot.
Two tight end set, 2nd and 9. And Delhomme's pass is caught by the tight end, Dante Rosario. Gain of just 2. Bertrand Berry made the tackle. So a 3rd down and 7 coming up for Carolina.
And what a great job by this Arizona defense last week against Atlanta. I mean, just absolutely shut down Michael Turner and Jarius Norwood. A big task tonight. D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, another great combo in the running game.
Cardinals held Atlanta to just 60 yards on the ground. 3rd down and 7. Panthers must get to the Arizona 40. Delhomme steps up. He throws complete to the fullback, Brad Hoover. And Hoover diving across the 40. And he looks to have a Carolina 1st down.
They always drop you in the flat, Goose.
Every time for them fullbacks. Arizona's doing a good job of going, giving them smoke. See all the guys on the line of scrimmage. One thing I don't like is they're only rushing 3 guys. They're not going to get a lot of pressure on Delhomme with only 3 guys in the pass rush.
Hoover, a crowd favorite here in Charlotte, only 6 receptions during the regular season. Picks up the 1st down, which is signaled by his quarterback.
Everybody loves a fullback. Nomos?
You got it.
Hard-working men out there, hard-working.
From the 40 on 1st down, D'Angelo Williams breaks free. 20 touchdowns during the regular season, and Williams is tackled at the 10-yard line by Adrian Wilson, an on-trail roll. 30 yards for Williams.
The fear going up against this Carolina running game is what we look at how many guys are up here to stop the run. They're everywhere in that front. Now watch the cutback. If you're not honest in your pursuit, you get your shoulders turned. You've seen it on film. You know that D'Angelo Williams is a great cutback runner. As soon as you get out of position, here he comes out the back door.
Keep an eye on Steve Smith on Dockett. You don't really see it in that particular picture, but Steve Smith does a great job of getting downfield and getting on a big guy. Blocking downfield is his specialty.
Williams out, Jonathan Stewart in, and this is Stewart inside the 5, into the end zone, touchdown! Jonathan Stewart, the rookie first-round draft pick out of Oregon. 10 rushing touchdowns during the regular season. His first postseason score, John Casey adds the extra point. Panthers score on their opening drive, lead the Cardinals 7-0. A 5-play, 50-yard drive after Mark Jones took the opening kickoff to midfield. Reese Lloyd kicks off for the Panthers, and it rolls out of bounds. Good job by Arrington not scooping up the football, so the Cardinals will have good field position starting from their own 40-yard line.
Free kick out of bounds on the kicking team. Ball will be placed at the 40-yard line. First down.
Gene Steratore, our referee. Kurt Warner, the MVP of Super Bowl 34, leading the Cardinals offense out. Warner with a 6-2 career record in the postseason.
Well, we talked about adversity for this Arizona Cardinal team. It couldn't have been any easier for Carolina's offense to go down the field. Let's see what Kurt Warner and his group can do to match it. You better find out where that guy is on every snap.
Identify that man.
Edgerrin James, the lone back. 1st and 10 from the 40. Warner with time, looking for Larry Fitzgerald on first down, incomplete.
I really think that this team found their identity in the last game against Seattle and then carried that into the game with Atlanta. Steve Breston gets the start for Anquan Bolden tonight, but they're a little bit more run-oriented. I'm not saying they're getting away from their 4 wide receivers, 3 wide receiver package, but right now you've got a fullback, Terrell Smith, that was split out. Now he's motioning back in. We're seeing more traditional personnel groups and formations.
2nd and 10, Edgerrin James. James out to the 43-yard line, a gain of 3. James, the forgotten man during the second half of the regular season as we check out the Panthers defense.
And they've got that interior of their line back, Damian Lewis and Maake Kiboiatu, 2 big guys inside that if Arizona does want to test this defense with the run, very stout inside. And that secondary, you have to understand that Larry Fitzgerald is going to make some catches tonight. They're going to blow your mind. If you're in perfect coverage and he makes a big catch, that's just a plus for Larry.
4 wide receivers set, 3rd down and 7. Cardinals must get to midfield. Warner to Fitzgerald, 1st down and more. Larry Fitzgerald inside the 30, knocked out of bounds by Chris Harris at the 26-yard line, a 31-yard connection.
All right, we said you had to find out where number 90 is on the defense, but you better find out where number 11 is too. Here he comes across the field. There's nobody near him. Goose, you can't lose number 11.
No, they definitely had a breakdown in coverage. 2 guys went to the right. Larry was all by himself, and you said it right, Moose. You better know where this guy is on the field, especially after the catch. He's big and tall, but he can run like the wind.
96 receptions during the regular season for Fitzgerald, led the NFC. From the Carolina 26, James cuts to the outside, tries to turn the corner, but runs right into the arms of Thomas Davis.
Great speed at the linebacker level for the Carolina Panthers. With Thomas Davis and John Beeson, it's going to be difficult to get to the edge.
Edgerrin James really does not need to go and bounce the ball like he did on that particular play, Moose. They're only got 6 guys in the box, really not respecting that run game for the Cardinals. He needs to go and get it up there and punch it. Even if it's for 3 or 4 yards, it's a positive play for Arizona, and they'll get confidence in staying with the run.
Second down and 11 from the 26. Warner steps up and then is taken down back at the 32-yard line by Damian Lewis, who missed the Panthers last game with a shoulder injury. Returns tonight with a first-quarter sack.
And they did this perfectly. Here he comes over the nose. You move Kurt Warner off the spot, make him pull the ball down, reset. This is a timing-based offense. It needs to come out on rhythm. If you can make Kurt Warner pull the ball down, slide in the pocket, and reset, you will disrupt this offense.
If you can make pressure with 4 guys on the line of scrimmage too, Moose, that's a lot of headaches all day long.
Warner sacked by his former teammate in St. Louis. Third down and 16. Out of the backfield,
what a play.
J.J. Arrington and Julius Peppers makes the tackle for a loss of 7.
Julius Peppers, keep an eye on him. Does a great job of recognizing the screen, gets out there, gets down, doesn't stop when he's on the ground, crawls over, goes and shoelace tackle, but that's a guy who's relentless and doesn't stop till the job is done. You talked about it earlier, Moose. You better identify where he is also.
Thanks to the Carolina defense, Cardinals are knocked out of field goal range. Remember, they were as deep as the Carolina 26. The punt by Ben Graham. Fair catch called for by Mark Jones at the 9-yard line. 30-yard punt. Delhomme, Smith, Williams, and the Panthers offense out to a 7-0 lead. Fast start for the Panthers again tonight. Their last 2 regular season games at the Giants. Touchdown on their first 3 possessions at New Orleans. 3 field goals and a touchdown on their first 4 drives. Panthers lead the Cardinals 7-0. First and 10 from their own 9-yard line. And D'Angelo Williams is bottled up and driven back by Darnell Dockett. As we take a look at the Panthers season, Jake Delhomme started all 16 games following Tommy John surgery, only 3 starts a year ago. Williams and Stewart led the way, the number 3 rushing offense in the NFL. And how about Steve Smith, after missing the first 2 games, finishes 3rd in the league in receiving yards as the Panthers are perfect at home. The only team in the National Football League to win every home game this season. Second and 10, Williams up the middle, found a hole, takes it out to the 16-yard line, a gain of 7 before he was tackled by Adrian Wilson.
When you talk about wide receiver safety matchups, most of the time you're thinking of the passing game, but tonight we are going to see Musa Mohammed come into the formations and block defensive ends, linebackers, and on that time he motioned in. He's coming all the way across the formation, trying to get a hit on Adrian Wilson to push him out of the way. One of the best blocking wide receivers in the NFL.
Mohammed back in Carolina after 3 years as a member of the Chicago Bears. 3rd down and 2. Williams. Not much.
Here goes to D'Angelo Williams. Picks up about a yard on the
Nice job by Arizona in the response to Carolina's opening drive. They don't get points out of their offensive possession, but they change field position. They put Carolina back inside their 10-yard line to start the drive. Their defense comes on the field, forces a 3-and-out. That's a nice response. I mean, they have really struggled this season when teams have got on them quick.
You talked about it earlier about handling adversity, and adversity happened in that first 5-play drive for a score. You're right, Moose. Way to come out there and pin him deep and punt him.
Jason Baker's punt rolls out of bounds at the 43-yard line. So good field position for the Cardinals offense. Back in Charlotte, North Carolina, Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa. For the second consecutive drive, the Arizona Cardinals will start at their own 40-yard line.
Yeah, and they had some positive plays in that last series, had a couple of breakdowns that forced them to punt the ball, but right now they're winning that battle of field position. Very critical playoff time.
3 wide receivers set. Edgerrin James, the lone back, early Doucette in motion. From the 40 on first down, Warner to Fitzgerald. And Fitzgerald takes it out to the 48, a gain of 8 before he was tackled by Thomas Davis.
Kurt Warner's a perfect fit as this offense has changed throughout the season, and you take advantage of what you have. Todd Haley took a look at his group. He's got Anquan Boldin, he's got Larry Fitzgerald, then Steve Breston emerges. Jeremy Urban is a guy that you're going to see some opportunities for him tonight with the injury to Anquan Boldin. Very wide receiver heavy. Kurt very good in the scheme that they've created.
Second down and 2 tight ends. Fitzgerald split to the right. Edgerrin James, and James wrapped up first by Tyler Brayton. Gain of just 1. So a third down and 1 coming up for the Cardinals.
And you know where your strength lies when in 3rd and 1 you take your fullback off and bring the wide receiver in, Goose.
I know you're a little upset about that, Moose. You want to see him go and pound it, and so do a lot of other people, but you got to stick with what works, and if they feel more comfortable passing the ball, all the more to them. We'll see what happens right here.
Breston split to the left. Fitzgerald in the slot. 2 tight ends. 3rd down and 1. Warner fakes the toss. And now he fires downfield looking for Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald goes up and makes a spectacular catch. Surrounded by 2 Panthers, Ken Lucas and Charles Godfrey. A 50-yard pass play.
All right, there it is, Goose.
That's it.
You got to understand this is Larry Fitzgerald. Don't be somebody in the stands watching. I mean, hey, wow, look at this guy. Is he going to go up and get it? I mean, how many times have we seen that? Now, all right, if you're Ken Lucas and you're Charles Godfrey, these things are going to happen. Larry Fitzgerald, he's absolutely amazing at the point of the catch.
Kurt Warner does a great job of taking an opportunity and taking a chance down the field. That's exactly what he needs to do.
First and goal from the 10. Edgerrin James. James down to the 6. Godfrey the tackle. A gain of 4.
You know, Edgerrin James, Moose, is the kind of guy that the more you give him the ball, the better he gets. The first couple times you saw him handle the ball, he tried to bounce it to the outside. Now he's lowering his shoulder, having faith in those offensive linemen, and coming up the middle where he needs to go.
Well, that's the frustration of getting away from that running game. All running backs need to get into a rhythm. They've got to feel how the line is blocking against that defense.
Second and goal for the Panthers 6. Off the fake to James. Warner complete to the fullback, Tim Castillo, who made only 4 receptions during the season. Thomas Davis the tackle. A gain of 3, so it will be 3rd and goal from the 3.
We talked about Larry Fitzgerald, and make sure you know where he is. Everybody on the field is running to Larry Fitzgerald. They're making sure that he has no way of catching the ball over the middle. See him right there in the middle of your screen? Everybody's turning and running. Where is he?
When in doubt, just push him past the end line, Goose.
That's it. Get him out of bounds.
Tim Hightower in the backfield for the first time, the rookie out of Richmond. 4 receivers, 3rd and goal. Warner to the end zone, touchdown, Tim Hightower.
Mike Torgavac's not going to be happy with that one. He's got to be angry with his defense right now. This is kind of a play you can see coming just by the alignment. Offset back, twin receivers to that side. You're going to have routes down and in, and you're going to get your running back out into the flat real quick. You're going to make the linebacker in coverage run through the 2 guys on the outside to try and get to the flat to cover them.
Bill Rackers adds the extra point. What a first quarter for Larry Fitzgerald. Hightower, 10 touchdowns during his rookie season. Into the end zone, we are tied at 7. Kurt Warner perfect during the scoring drive. And Darryl, it's the first time the Cardinals have scored a touchdown in the first quarter in the Eastern time zone this season.
There it is.
In 6 games.
They're not going to sneak anything by you, Kenny Albert.
Tim Hightower celebrating. 7-7 in Charlotte. Carolina Panthers scored on their opening drive, but it became a game of field position. And the Cardinals have tied the game at 7.
Oh, what a great call on that 3rd and 1. Little bootleg action, deep pass to Larry Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald, 3 receptions, 80 yards in the first quarter. Off the play fake, Delhomme can't find anyone. He loses the football, and the Cardinals have it.
Jake Delhomme holding the ball in the pocket. He's going to slide, only has one hand on it. Here comes Antonio Smith. Bam! Straight to the ground. A swat and a recovery.
That's what they teach you. Attack the ball. The ball's out there. Gets it out on a spin move, too. It's hard to go and see where the ball is when you do the spin move, but great job by Antonio Smith in finding it and getting it out.
We talked about Arizona responding. Let's see what this Carolina defense can do right now.
1st and 10 for the Cardinals from the Carolina 13. James the lone back, 3 wide receivers. Warner, the screen to James. Edgerrin inside the 10, the 5. And he is forced out of bounds at the 4. James gains 9 yards, setting up 2nd down and 1.
What a great field by Edgerrin James, because I thought he should have stayed inside. A little quick screen. I thought he should have went inside Lyle's send line right there. He's able to bounce and get it all the way outside, inside the 5-yard line.
James in the backfield along with the fullback, Terrell Smith. Spock, the tight end, split all the way out to the right. Now Spock in motion. 2nd down and 1. Warner stumbled, hands it off to James, and Edgerrin James is in for a touchdown.
Great feet, Edgerrin James. He's got Damian Lewis in his face immediately.
Kurt Warner does a great job of getting the ball. As he comes out, you watch him trip right here, but he goes, he finds the ball, gets it to Edgerrin James. Edgerrin James does exactly what he needs to do. Go straight up the field, attack the middle of that defense.
So the Cardinals take advantage of a short field. Following the turnover, the strip by Antonio Smith. Neil Rackers the extra point. Cardinals finally score a first quarter touchdown in the Eastern time zone. So they say, let's score another one.
Let's just keep going. And, you know, I really think that this offense fuels the entire team, including the defense. So they go down, they get the touchdown. Antonio Smith gets the swat and the recovery for the turnover. And Edgerrin James, what great feet. He's not going full speed when he gets the ball. All you young guys out there who are running backs, I hope you saw how Edgerrin James did that. He is not going full speed at the start of that play. That allowed him to do the little jump cut and get outside of Damian Lewis.
Weather's starting to change a little bit down here. Guys starting to drizzle a little bit. Got a little wet surface.
Hey, Goose, you know, we talked about this team finding their identity, getting Steven Spock involved at the tight end position, and then you've got Terrell Smith, the fullback. We're seeing a lot more of those formations tonight as opposed to a lot of the 3 and 4 wide receivers. You wonder if maybe right now the injury to Anquan Bolden maybe made that decision for Todd Haley in the offense to stay in that style of personnel that's been so successful the last 2 weeks.
I think it has. I definitely think it has. And I like seeing them have the balance with the run and the passing game. That's a key to this game.
Cardinals 14 points in 56 seconds. Jones out of the end zone. Jones stopped shy of the 25-yard line by Sean Morey. Well, we've talked about it. You've heard about it all week. You've heard about it all season. The Arizona Cardinals 0-5 this year in the Eastern time zone.
Not even 0-5, but really not even that competitive. You know, everybody talked about this game in Charlotte when they were up 17-3. They allowed Carolina to come back and win that game, but boy, they got knocked around in some of the other cities. Thanksgiving night in Philadelphia, and we had that game in Foxborough. I mean, I think every player, coach, every member of that organization of the Arizona Cardinals embarrassed by how they played in Foxborough.
1st and 10 for the Panthers from their own 23. Off the play fake, Delhomme connecting with a wide open Muhsin Muhammad, and there are those moose chants that Jimmy Johnson referenced during our pregame show.
There's only one original though, Kenny. You know,
that's it.
Imitation, the greatest form of flattery.
Tell him, Moose.
But I tell you, he has added a dimension. Muhsin Muhammad, I mean, he's ageless. I mean, you think of him as, you know, the blocking wide receiver. You got to have a great wide receiver who's willing to go in there and block to have a successful running game. And that's the role you assume Muhsin Muhammad has here. But he's up almost to 1,000 yards receiving, too.
Muhammad gained 15 from the 38. Jonathan Stewart. And again, a good job by the Cardinals defense, led by Antonio Smith, who had the sack earlier. Also sacked Matt Ryan for a safety in the wild card win last week.
Well, these guys feed off of energy, you know, positive energy, and I think they get knocked back by negative energy. When things go wrong, they really get into a funk, and they can't get out of it. And that's why that response to Carolina's opening drive was so impressive, because you normally don't see Arizona do that. Now this defense is playing with a lot of emotion again, Goose.
2nd down and 8, time winding down in this first quarter. Delhomme with time, fires downfield. He's looking for Steve Smith. Penalty marker. Antrell Roll on the coverage.
As confident as Kurt Warner is in Larry Fitzgerald, Jake Delhomme has the same confidence in Steve Smith. And he doesn't have to be one-on-one.
Defense, number 21, spot foul, automatic first down.
You've got Steve Smith one-on-one with Antrell Roll, your safety. That's obviously a great matchup, but Jake Delhomme will do exactly what Kurt Warner did with Larry Fitzgerald. He will throw the ball up into double coverage and allow Steve Smith to go up and make a play.
Steve Smith does a great job of getting his head around and finding where the ball is. That's what makes him such a good receiver. He gets his head around, he sees the ball coming, and he makes adjustments.
Panthers gained 45 yards on the penalty, and with the play clock winding down, the Panthers use their first timeout. Coming up tomorrow on Fox, the other NFC Divisional playoff, third meeting of the year between the Giants and the Eagles. In the first meeting, Giants rushed for 219 yards in Philadelphia, won the game 36-31. And then at the Meadowlands, the Brian Westbrook show, 203 total yards for Westbrook as the Eagles won the game by 6.
Completely different defensive performance by the Philadelphia Eagles from the first game to the second game, and we had that matchup the second time around. Boy, I tell you, Trent Cole had a great game up in the Meadowlands. He'll be key again tomorrow.
That's just an old school smash mouth, pounded out football game right there, the Giants and the Eagles.
The weather forecast, low 30s, cloudy and windy.
Windy in the Meadowlands? No, not this time of year.
Never heard that before.
Never.
1st and 10 for the Panthers from the Cardinals 15. The toss to Stewart. And Stewart able to gain just 1. Brought down by Brian Robinson along with Antrell Roll. And that will do it for the first quarter here in Charlotte, with the Cardinals leading the Panthers 14-7. We'll return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Back in Charlotte, we begin the second quarter. Kenny Albert, Darrell Johnston, Tony Siragusa. Cardinals leading the Panthers 14-7. 2nd down and 9 from the Arizona 14. Off the fake to Stewart. Delhomme rolling right. He throws. It's picked off by Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, the rookie out of Tennessee State. And Cromartie is forced out of bounds at the 20-yard line by Dante Rosario. The NFL Defensive Rookie of the Month for December. Led the Cardinals during the regular season with 4 picks.
Impatient. Jake Delhomme got impatient. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie goes to move up on Musa Muhammad, but he's baiting him. He's going to drop right back into where Steve Smith was. They had 4 guys over there to cover 2. Get off of those guys. Get off of those guys. Throw it away. Run. Get what you can. Don't make a critical turnover when you've got points available.
You talked about it in the open, Moose. Whoever's going to be more patient is going to have the advantage. You're absolutely right. That was trying to force a play right there.
So the Panthers have turned the ball over on consecutive drives. Cardinals leading by 7 from their own 20. James in the backfield, penalty marker as Spock went in motion.
Delay of game, offense, number 13. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Cardinals led the league during the regular season, Darryl. 10 delay of game penalties.
Got to be much more efficient getting the plays in from the sideline. You can't have that. You know, the big things that hurt you this time of year, obviously the turnovers, we've seen that from Carolina, but penalties. And it doesn't have to be the big personal fouls. The 1st and 15s, just the 5-yarders, the pre-snap things drive coaches crazy.
You saw the rain messing up Todd Haley's play sheet. Trying to wipe off the raindrops. The offensive coordinator. Complete water to Steve Preston. Preston out to the 27-yard line. Stopped 3 yards shy of the marker. Gain of 12.
Todd Haley right there. Look at the play selection tonight. 5 runs, 10 passes. Probably a good balance for this Arizona offense right now, Goose.
That's a great balance. Usually it's like 1 run and 30 passes by now, but like seeing him stick with that run, control the clock, and give that guy right in the backfield and a little bit of time to go and get something happen.
On 2nd and 3, Edgerrin James out across the 30, picks up a Cardinals first down. Again, in case you joined us late, the Cardinals are without Anquan Bolden. Suffered the left hamstring injury in a win over Atlanta last week. Came out onto the field a little before 6 p.m. but is not in uniform, placed on the inactive list. And Darryl, you mentioned earlier, Cardinals without Bolden this season have won 3 out of 4 games.
Yeah, but none of those games that Anquan missed were playoff caliber teams. No, those victories not against playoff teams. So obviously, you don't want to have him out of the lineup, but you're trying to look for anything positive.
On first down, here's James, spins out to the 36-yard line. Edgerrin gaining 6.
And you know the good thing about this too, Goose, is this is giving the defense not only an opportunity to rest on the sideline, but to get a look at those pitchers to find out what Carolina is doing offensively. If your offense is going on the field and having 3 and outs, you never really get an opportunity to see what some of the new adjustments are for that game.
You're absolutely right, Moose. When you go to the sideline, the coach usually come. He'll have all the pitchers right there, and you can talk a little bit about what's going on the field. Coaches see what's going on, but players go and can feel things that are happening, and they can make much better adjustments with time on the sideline.
Movement prior to the snap.
Encroachment, defense, contact, number 92. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
That's on Damian Lewis. It's 9 o'clock in the Eastern time zone, a time zone which has not been kind to the Arizona Cardinals this season. Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa. Cardinals out to a 7-point lead here in Charlotte. The winner advances to the NFC Championship game. First and 10 from the 41. The delayed handoff to James. And James takes it across the 45 out to the 48-yard line before he's finally tackled by Thomas Davis. A gain of 7 for James.
And they're doing a really nice job tonight of having efficient runs. And that's runs of 3 yards or more. You know, a lot of teams are looking for 4. Really, Arizona wants to be at least 3. They don't want to get stuck into situations where all of a sudden it's 2nd down and 9, 2nd down and 10, where they could have passed them in that same scenario. So right now, during the season, Edgerrin James, Tim Hightower had a lot of 2-yard runs or less. Tonight, they're off to a good start.
Hightower on the field. 2nd down and 3. Delayed handoff, Hightower. And there's another one of those runs of 2 yards or less.
You know, we've all talked about Arizona getting out of balance. Now we got some flags on the field. But one of the reasons is the success or lack thereof success in their running game. Check out what happened out there on the field.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 31, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Number 31, Richard Marshall.
Looks like they're getting a little sloppy out there, Moose. This is the second penalty of this drive.
Always get the second guy.
A retaliation by Marshall on early Doucette.
That's just a lack of composure right there by Richard Marshall. You can't. We just talked about what a 5-yard penalty does. It's pre-snap. You have a 15-yard dead ball. Unacceptable.
Off the fake to James. Warner can't find anyone downfield. And Warner steps out of bounds at the 33 after gaining 4.
Boy, did you see the big hit on the side, Goose?
Oh, Terrell Smith, I think it was, yeah.
Julius Peppers. Julius Peppers will chase anything down. I mean, he is athletic as you'll find playing the defensive line in the NFL. But watch the end of this one. There's Julius Peppers, number 90. The fullback peels off. Boom! I tell you, they have had a couple of decleaters tonight already.
Julius Peppers has his number melted into his head right now. He's going to go find him at one time or another.
Second down and 7. James leaning forward to the 31. Gain of 3.
We'll go back and take a look at the body of work throughout the season. Edgerrin James, 58 out of 133. Tim Hightower, 88 out of 143. That's just out of whack. I mean, you're not being efficient in your run game, and everybody will say, well, you've got to make a commitment to the run. When you're averaging, over 50% of your runs at 2 yards or less, yeah, if I've got Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden and Steve Breaston on the outside, I might become pass heavy.
Third down and 4. Panthers must get to the 27. Empty backfield. Warner in trouble. Throws it away. The pressure from Tyler Brayton.
Tyler Brayton came from the left side. Came clean right to Kurt Warner. He just did a good job buying some time and getting the ball into an area where nobody could catch it.
One thing, Moose, I'm seeing down here on the field that I haven't seen before with the Arizona Cardinals. We had them a couple times this year, 2 or 3 times. And right now, the Carolina Panthers aren't sure what's happening on every play. They don't know whether it's a run or a pass. They're guessing right now, and that's keeping them off balance with the run game.
Neil Rackers from 49 yards out extends the Cardinals' lead. It's now 17-7. The Cardinals have scored their last 10 points off Panther turnovers. Cardinals now lead 17-7. Here in Charlotte, a 9-play, 49-yard drive. Rockers kicking off. Mark Jones from the goal line. Jones brought down at the 22. Early second quarter, Arizona by 10. Offensive leaders for the Panthers, who committed only 19 turnovers all season. Delhomme, 2 turnovers in the first half.
And that last one, a tough one. Bad decision by Jake Delhomme on that last one. You're in the scoring zone. You've got points, potential points, and got a little impatient with his throw.
First and 10 from the 22-yard line. Penalty markers prior to the snap.
Defense. The right defensive end was in the the zone when the offense lifted. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And they had to tell last week in that Atlanta game, the Arizona defensive line, they were on Matt Ryan's snap count, and they also had a little tell on him to give them an indication when he was going to get onto that snap count. I don't think they're going to get that from Jake Delhomme tonight. I thought it was a huge factor in the game last week and helping them establish the line of scrimmage.
Delhomme on first down and 5. Too far for Muhammad. Roderick Hood on the coverage.
You know, we talked about the Arizona Cardinals in the past getting away from the run. I tell you what, Carolina is just going to the air constantly, Moose. I'm really surprised that they haven't established a running game at all today.
Well, you know, they're still working it, Goose. They're still working it. You know, they're getting out of rhythm right now. More than anything, they seem a little out of rhythm. And right now, you know, Jeff Davidson, the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, his biggest fear was for this Arizona defensive line to have some success early. And they have.
The toss to Williams, and he's tackled at the 25-yard line. Carlos Dansby along with Roderick Hood. Loss of 2 on the play.
Yeah, he watched the game last week, Jeff Davidson did. He saw Arizona playing on the other side of the line of scrimmage, getting great penetration. They're starting to do that tonight. Look at all the white jerseys on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
They're pursuing to the ball. That's what you have to do. That's when you get your turnovers. That's when you get your big plays.
3rd down and 7. 3 wide receivers. Off the play fake. Delhomme over the middle. Brian Robinson battered it down.
And remember, that series started at 1st and 5, and they're punting on 4th and 7. Clancy Pendergast, he's got his guys fired up. He's got them playing right now. Brian Robinson sliding right into that throwing lane, getting that arm up.
So the last 4 drives for the Panthers. 2 turnovers, and now 2 punts. Nearly blocked from the 27, Preston. Out to the 38, 11-yard return. Landon Johnson made the tackle. Terrific start for the Arizona defense. Welcome back. Good starting field position once again for the Cardinals.
Yeah, they have really taken advantage of it. That's one of John Fox's big things. The style, the way he's built this team, creating field position. They're on the wrong side of that equation right now.
From the 38, the play blown dead.
False start. Offense, number 83. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's on the tight end, Spock. Well, the Arizona Cardinals finished 9-7. Kurt Warner returning to Super Bowl form. 3,000-yard receivers. Fitzgerald, Bolden, and Preston. Cardinals win their first division title since the St. Louis Cardinals won their division back in 1975. And last week against the Falcons, first home playoff win since 1947. Ken Wisenhunt took a bath at the end of that game. First down and 15. Fitzgerald in the slot. Warner fakes the handoff to Hightower. A pump fake. Now he throws, and Fitzgerald makes the catch and takes it down to the Panthers' 42-yard line, putting Fitzgerald over 100 yards for the game.
They throw these bubble screens a lot. Larry Fitzgerald going out to block. Nope, he's not going out to block. He's turning up the sideline. Little play fake inside. Pump the little bubble screen to the outside, and there goes Larry Fitzgerald down the sideline. Well-designed play.
25 yards, another pump fake by Warner. And then looking for James out of the backfield, incomplete.
It's such a big part of their offense. It's kind of an extension of their running game. Steve Preston drops back for the screen. Richard Marshall jumps it, thinking that it's going to come out to the flat. He was responsible for Larry Fitzgerald in coverage.
How has Fitzgerald managed to have so much success today without Anquan Boldin on the field?
Good question. I might go in at halftime and say, you know what, we don't have Anquan Boldin out there. I might start doubling Larry Fitzgerald.
Here's Edgerrin James, and he takes it down to the 39-yard line, a gain of 3.
Carolina Panthers is just breaking down in the secondary. They're biting on little screens like we saw there. They're not playing fundamental football or playing their rules. You got to be aware where that guy is, Larry Fitzgerald, at all times on the field. You can't be letting him run in the open field and think that Kurt Warner is not going to find him.
Cardinals must get to the 32. Warner throws. Fitzgerald makes the catch for an Arizona first down. 17-yard pass play.
Well, this is just great chemistry right now. Larry Fitzgerald's in tight, but he's running the corner out. There he is, number 11, right at the 40. Get up the field on the vertical stem, break out. Not a whole lot of room for Kurt Warner to fit that ball in there. But he's doing it time and time again. Now there's kind of the double coverage. You've got C.J. Wilson underneath. You've got your safety over the top. But right now, this offense is in rhythm.
Chris Harris is just giving too much of a cushion. Larry Fitzgerald there on the backside. He's playing over the top. He needs to go and hug up a little bit more.
From the 22-yard line, the handoff to James. James stumbles down inside the 21-yard line.
There you go, Goose. He knows. He's already pointing to himself. Just like you said earlier, the fact he's trying to bounce stuff. Sometimes just stick it up in there and get 3-4 yards.
Second down and 8. Fitzgerald split to the left. Preston to the right. 2 tight ends. Fitzgerald in motion. From the Panthers 20. Warner. Nice touch. And it's taken down close to a first down by Preston. 3rd down and 1.
Well, they know where he is now, Goose, as he comes across in motion. Everybody's going to kick over. But what this does is it puts Thomas Davis, a linebacker, in coverage against Steve Preston. He's just in and out of that break too quick. Pitch and catch by Kurt Warner and Steve Preston.
This Carolina defense down here watching these guys, they're like talking to each other, wondering what's going on. Harris is talking. And
remember the last time the Cardinals were here back in late October, Arizona led 17-3 in the 3rd quarter. In fact, 3 times this season, Carolina has trailed by at least 10 points at home, and they came back to win all 3 games.
They need a big play by those big guys up front right now. They need a sack. They need some penetration, a tackle for a loss. They need something to go and get a little bit of momentum on defense for these Carolina Panthers.
3rd down and 1. It's the fullback Smith, and he is stopped. Chris Harris along with Niall Diggs. So the Cardinals now facing a 4th and short.
That's a good effort by Terrell Smith. But Goose, what's going on with Kurt Warner coming out from under center when they get in tight? This looks like the 2nd time he's gotten stepped on.
I think those guards are so tight that he's tripping over them. They're stepping to the inside. I'll keep an eye on it down here, but that's the 2nd time we saw that. Kurt having a hard time pulling out from the center. His guards are tripping him up on the inside.
Yeah, Reggie Wells got him that time, the left guard. Come on, Coach Wisenhunt. Roll him. Ah, I don't like the decision. I do not like the decision. 17-7. You've got everything rolling your way. You're not supposed to be here. Nobody expects you to be here. Ah, I do not like this decision.
Lewis, I don't know. I think going for the knockout punch right now is just too risky. I say put some points on the board. Get another 3 up there. I'm telling you, slowly but surely, they're chipping away at this Carolina team. The more points you have on the board, the more the more they lose confidence. I like this decision. I don't think they should go for it.
Now, it'll be 21-20 pretty quick.
30-yard attempt from the left hash. Ratfish hit from 49 earlier. And to Goose's liking, the Cardinals put 3 points on the board. The Arizona lead is now 20-7.
I've been waiting too, Moose. Me and you love this. I love 24.
Did you see Redemption last week, the encore?
It was great. It was great. His buddy blew himself up. The landmine.
We've been waiting 2 years. Cardinal fans waited 10 years for a playoff game. Mark Jones tackled by the kicker, Neil Rackards, after a 37-yard return.
Well, he jump-started him on the opening drive with a big return.
For the Panthers, D'Angelo Williams, 38 yards on the ground. Jonathan Stewart, the lone Carolina touchdown. Steve Smith without a catch so far today.
Well, they just don't have enough opportunities. They don't have enough plays right now.
From the 38 on first down. Delhomme over the middle. It's intercepted by Gerald Hayes. The third Carolina turnover.
Wow, Moose, he's just self-destructing on that.
I don't know what he's
decision.
seeing. I don't know what he's seeing, Goose. Hey, Gerald Hayes, number 54. He's going to drop right into the throwing lane, just reading the quarterback's eyes. Here comes the crosser, Musa Muhammad, into the middle. Don't know why Jake didn't see him.
Arizona's defensive line doing a great job getting their hands up and maybe blocking his vision downfield. But he had plenty of time to go and find an open receiver, but threw it to a spot where it wasn't good.
Tim Hightower all the way down to the 30, picks up a Cardinals first down, a gain of 14 yards. Gerald Hayes, Tony, out of your alma mater, the University of Pittsburgh. No picks during the regular season, comes up with the third takeaway for the Cardinals tonight.
Did a nice job of that last play, hiding back there, being patient like Moose talked about in the open. Which team is going to be more patient and having an opportunity and making the best out of it.
I'm surprised to see the decisions that Jake Delhomme has made in this half. The one down in the red zone with the interception in that one. I don't know how he didn't see Gerald Hayes. He dropped out quick. He didn't bait him at all.
From the 30 on first down, this is James. James able to gain just one as we approach 4 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Jake Delhomme, 3 turnovers in the first half tonight on his 34th birthday. The Carolina Panthers trailing the Arizona Cardinals by 13. A Cardinals team that only won 3 games out of their division this season. A Panthers team 8-0 here at home. Warner on 2nd and 9. Loads of time. Now he throws. It's caught by Fitzgerald. And Fitzgerald dives across. Touchdown.
You got to get in at halftime. You've got to make some adjustments. If you're going to get beat, you can't let Larry Fitzgerald be the guy that's going to beat you. Make it be Steve Preston. Make it be Jeremy Irvin. Don't allow your team to get beat by the biggest playmaker on that offense. All right, Goose, your field goal decision's looking sweet right now.
Wow. Look at the face right there, man. That just describes everything.
"17 points off turnovers scored by the Arizona Cardinals."
Well, this offensive line has been fantastic all evening long. Great blitz pickup by J.J. Arrington. That allows the time for Larry Fitzgerald to cross the entire field. Great effort at the pylon. There he comes. There's number 11.
All the way across the field.
There he goes, right underneath there. Well, I tell you, they've got some well-designed pass plays.
That offensive line, you got to give a little props to the offensive line, too, Lewis. You know how long it takes for that play to go and develop and for Larry to get all the way across the field. You need a lot of time back there, and that offensive line is giving Kurt enough time to go and find Larry out there.
The last time the Arizona Cardinals played a road playoff game, 10 years ago today.
Oh, don't
January
do it.
10th,
Don't do it, Kenny Albert.
January 10th, 99. In Minnesota.
Oh, thank
Larry
you.
Fitzgerald was a Vikings ball boy on the sidelines that day. He was 15 years old.
Oh, I thought you were going a different direction.
Which direction would that be?
We talked about the great job that offensive line's doing. Well, look at that. 1 sack, 1 hit, no pressure all day.
But you talked about it, Tony. They're not fabricating any pressure. You know, they were getting there with 4 early on. But the offensive line of Arizona has settled in, and then we brought pressure on the last one. J.J. Arrington stepping up. It's kind of vanilla what they're doing. 4 down with a safety coming from depth. That's easy.
Short kickoff taken by Dante Rosario as the Cardinals keep it away from Mark Jones, who's had some nice returns today. Michael Adams downfield to make the tackle on special teams. A franchise postseason record. But that's not saying much. It's only the 9th playoff game in franchise history.
Still a record.
Yep.
When one of your guys goes down like Anquan Bolden, you need someone to step up. And Larry Fitzgerald has stepped up in this first half.
Cardinals have scored on their last 5 possessions. 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals. From the 26, Delhomme complete. Out at the 32-yard line, Dwayne Jarrett, second-year receiver out of USC. Gain of 6. Second down and 4. The number 2 seed of the NFC, the Carolina Panthers, trailing by 20. Penalty markers prior to the snap.
False start. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That's on the right tackle, Jeff Oton. Carolina scored on their opening drive. 5 plays, 50 yards, but since then, 2 punts, 3 turnovers.
12 plays in 5 possessions, and we've talked about, you know, where's the running game? Where's D'Angelo Williams? Why doesn't Steve Smith have a catch? Well, they've only had 12 plays in their last 5 possessions.
Second down and 9 following the penalty. Delhomme in trouble, wrapped up, sacked for the second time. Ronell Dockett.
That was on a 4-man rush, too, Moose.
Dockett along with Bertrand Berry.
Darnell Dockett, number 90, coming from your right side. Quick swim on Jeremy Bridges. But, you know, the big thing is holding the ball. You know, Jake is so out of sync right now. Bad reads down the field, holding the ball in the pocket.
Third down and 12 from the 24. 3 receivers. Delhomme faked the handoff. And now fires downfield. And it is nearly picked off. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie got a piece of it. Steve Smith, the intended receiver, the Panthers will punt it away.
Great job by Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie at the point of the catch. Watch this. Elevates. How many times have we seen that one come down at Steve Smith's hands, Goose?
Cromartie does a great job of going to the highest point and going to get the ball. You know, they got to find a way to get the ball into Steve Smith's hands, whether it's on the screen or something. I mean, he needs to touch the ball and make something happen.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Right now, everything has been deep. They've been big vertical routes down the field. Let him catch it and run it.
Weston tackled at the 27-yard line by Richard Marshall. 53-yard punt, 4 on the return. As we hit the 2-minute warning here in Charlotte. The Cardinals have scored on their last 5 drives. They lead the number 2 seed, the Carolina Panthers, 27-7. Back in a moment.
Cardinals first and 10 at the 27-yard line.
Jake Delhomme, 3 first-half turnovers. Steve Smith, no first-half receptions. Disbelief on the Panthers sideline. First and 10 from the 27, James. Out across the 30. Gain of 4. How much criticism did the Arizona Cardinals take down the stretch after they clinched the division? Did not play well in December until the final week.
Well, you had the 11-5 Patriots out of the playoffs, so 9-7 Arizona, 8-8 San Diego. Everybody wants to know why they're here. They knocked off Atlanta last week. They're leading Carolina right now. And don't forget, the NFC South had the most wins by a division than all the divisions in the NFL. So Arizona, coming from the weak NFC West, already knocked off Atlanta, and they've got Carolina on the ropes late in the first half.
Ken Wisenhull told us after we clinched, we played like the games didn't mean anything. Finally got back on track against Seattle. And then the playoff game against Atlanta last week as James gains 1, setting up a 3rd down and 5. Coming up, the Visa halftime report with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. And the Fox Sports ticker will have all the latest stats. And the Panthers use their 2nd timeout. 52 seconds remaining in the first half. A half that has seen the Panthers commit 3 turnovers.
Yeah, well, Jake Delhomme responsible for all 3 right there. Held the ball in the pocket. That one there with points on the board, an opportunity for a field goal, throws into coverage, and another opportunity there, and Gerald Hayes drops right in the throwing lane. And everything's out of sync right now. We see the frustration with Jake Delhomme. We've seen Steve Smith on the sideline sitting in disbelief. And then right there, why did you wait that long to call the timeout? I mean, you expect Arizona to come out in this series and jump right into a 2-minute situation, and they don't. They've come out and run the ball twice, and you allowed that time to come off. You called the timeout, but you let 12 seconds go off the clock before you did.
Keep in mind, the Arizona Cardinals will get the ball to start the second half as well. 3rd down and 5. Cardinals must get to the 37. Warner off his back foot, complete, and a 1st down. J.J. Arrington, the North Carolina native. And with 44 seconds remaining, the Cardinals move the chains, and Arizona uses a timeout.
And we've got an injury. Well, they had him outmanned on the right side. Just that quick little screen pass. Landon Johnson down on the field. There's the end of the run. John Beeson coming over the top. Ooh, there's Landon Johnson getting bent back. Boy, head, neck, back.
You never see your own player coming because you think he's going to hit the other player, but man, there's some the biggest collisions, I think, are players hitting guys on their own team, Bruce. That was a big one.
You know, one factor in the success that these teams have had this season, and we talked about Jake Delhomme missing the final 13 games last year, the lack of injuries. Only 5 Carolina Panthers on injured reserve, only 3 Arizona Cardinals on IR.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to be successful in the NFL, you've got to be lucky with your injuries. And yeah, you've got guys behind you, but when you lose frontline players, it's difficult to replace them. And you know, we saw several teams this season that were hit hard by injuries, and it just really makes the season difficult for them. You know, the Detroit Lions finished 0-16, but I think a lot of people forget they had a lot of guys out of the starting lineup, the most games missed by starters of any team in the NFL.
Back in Charlotte as the Panthers medical staff tends to injured linebacker Landon Johnson. His first season here in Carolina, spent the last 4 years as a member of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, you can see he is still in a lot of pain, and watch the hit. John Beeson, like Tony said, your own players sometimes have the biggest collisions, and you don't know if it was the head going back that did something to the neck, his low back bend, he got caught up on the bottom, or just everything, and you saw the pain as he sat up.
Stretcher coming out for Landon Johnson, so we will check in with Kurt Menefee in our studio in Los Angeles. Kurt.
Okay, Kenny, just a reminder that we are 44 seconds on the game clock away from the Visa halftime report.
where Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy will break down the first half of your game, a surprising first half for the Arizona Cardinals, plus take a look at the AFC playoff contest, the divisional matchup between the Ravens and Titans that took place earlier today, and set the stage for the second half. That's all coming up in the Visa Halftime Report. Just about 44 seconds on the game clock from where you are right now. But for now, let's send it back to Carolina and Kenny Albert.
All right, thanks very much, Kurt Menefee. A 27-7 lead for the visiting Arizona Cardinals over the Carolina Panthers. Again, Landon Johnson is the injured Panther. He will be driven back to the Panthers locker room. One of the big stories in this first half, a comparison of the Pro Bowl wide receivers. Larry Fitzgerald heading to his third Pro Bowl, 6 catches, 151 yards.
And it's just amazing how wide open he has been at times. Some good play designs by Todd Haley, but there's the scary thing of Larry Fitzgerald, the athleticism at the point of the catch. But he's been getting into that deep crossing area, coming across the field into some empty spots, and then a great effort right there at the pylon to get the touchdown.
And on the other side, Steve Smith heading to his 4th Pro Bowl, no receptions. Jake Delhomme only 4 for 9 with 2 picks. Now the Cardinals get their timeout back due to the Carolina injury. So Arizona with all 3 of their timeouts. J.J. Arrington. Arrington out to the 49-yard line, and now the Cardinals will use a timeout. 36 seconds on the clock. Well, this February, the world's best drivers return to Fox to drop the flag on another intense and thrilling season of NASCAR, the 51st running of the Great American Race. Plus, Grammy Award winner and country music superstar Keith Urban will perform during the Daytona 500 pre-race show. Fox Sports, the exclusive home of the Daytona 500, Sunday, February 15th, in high definition.
We drove by the NASCAR Hall of Fame that's under construction on the way out to visit with the Arizona Cardinals yesterday.
NASCAR country, Charlotte, North Carolina. 2nd down and 2 for the Cardinals. 4 receivers set. Arrington will own back. Warner, delayed handoff to Arrington. Arrington picks up a 1st down. Richard Marshall made the tackle. Cardinals call timeout.
Second charge timeout. Arizona, a 30-second timeout.
Well, coming up following the 3rd quarter, the Pepsi punt, pass, and kick competition, something, Darryl, that you took part in as a youngster growing up in the Buffalo, New York area.
Yeah, I was very fortunate to make it to the AFC round. One qualifier short of the Super Bowl. Actually, my first opportunity to meet the great Terry Bradshaw as we went to a Pittsburgh Steelers-Houston Oilers game down at the Astrodome. We met one of the guys the other night in our meeting room.
Was he nice to you, Terry?
We met a guy the other night that was in the competition.
Oh, a long pause. A long pause from Darryl Johnston. We'll have to check that out at halftime. Hope Terry's not listening. Steve Preston down to the 45-yard line. Gain of 4.
You wouldn't sign your autograph, right? Tell us, Moose.
No.
Give us the dirt.
I can't go there. It's 2-minute drill.
You gave it away with that long pause. You know, Todd Haley, the offensive coordinator of the Cardinals, was a huge Steelers fan. He was a ball boy for the Steelers back in the 70s. His dad worked in their personnel department, Dick Haley, and Todd spent many an afternoon on the sidelines at Three River Stadium.
Well, I'm sure Terry was much nicer to him than he was to me.
What did he say? Get lost, kid? Come on.
Buzz off, kid.
Buzz off.
I'm eating dinner.
That's what he said.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did. He did. We'll get him. We'll find out. Stay tuned. We'll find out what Terry did to Moose.
Kurt, keep Terry under control during the Visa halftime report. Warner to Arrington. Arrington down to the 35. The Cardinals save their final timeout, and they will use it now with 3 seconds on the clock.
Charge timeout. Arizona, a 30-second timeout.
Speaking of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ken Wisenhunt was their offensive coordinator when they won the Super Bowl 3 years ago.
He's had the experience of being in the playoffs, but it was funny. We talked to him before the New England game, and he said one of the challenges is getting these guys ready to go into the postseason. For so many years, the majority of this roster is planning to go on vacation, to do something at the end of the season that's far, far away from playing playoff football. So, again, going back to the point you mentioned earlier, Goose, you clinched the division, and it was hard to get them refocused on what they needed to do down the stretch.
Tell you what, they're refocused today and over the last couple games also.
All right, a 53-yard attempt. Rackers' season long is 54, career long is 55. Will it have the distance? It does not. Just short. From 53 yards out, Rackers missed from 51 last week against Atlanta. But the Arizona Cardinals head to the locker room with an improbable 20-point lead at halftime over the Carolina Panthers, who are hearing the boos from the crowd, a crowd that has not witnessed a Carolina loss here at home this season. Arizona 27, Carolina 7. Stay tuned for the Visa Halftime Report coming up after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. The crowd here in Charlotte, North Carolina, stunned over the first 30 minutes as the Arizona Cardinals have come into Charlotte and they lead the Carolina Panthers 27-7. Kenny Albert with Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa downstairs. Panthers scored on their opening drive, but the Cardinals weathered the storm, and then Arizona would score on 5 consecutive drives. Well,
They responded to the adversity, but if there's anything they did worse than that all season long, it was handling success. How did they come out here in the second half? And Terry Bradshaw, this one's for you. You are absolutely right. We could see a terrible second half from this Arizona Cardinal team. So I'm anxious to see how they handle success with everything they've done up until this point.
And it sounded like Terry did, in fact, deliver a heartfelt apology.
And he did.
It wasn't good enough, Moose. We want another one.
How about you, Goose? Anybody ever blow you off for an autograph?
Nah, I remember when I was a little kid, someone blew me off a little bit, but I bid him. I took care of it on my own.
All right, Lloyd kicks off. Here's Arrington. J.J. Arrington on the return. Out across the 25-yard line. Goose?
I had a chance to talk with John Fox on the way in. Obviously, he wasn't happy with the way his team played in the first half. He was very upset at his defense, though. He says he was really shocked that they weren't able to go and get pressure on Kurt Warner. He was standing back there finding Larry Fitzgerald. He did say he did have a couple breakdowns in the secondary where they should have doubled Larry Fitzgerald, but he said there's no way he should have had that much time to stand in the pocket, and it will change here in the second half. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Goose. The average drive start for the Cardinals in the first half, the 44-yard line. They begin the second half from their own 26. Edger and James. James takes it out to the 30, a gain of 4. James, 14 carries, 41 yards in the first half as we check out the numbers.
Well, exactly how you would think it would be. To me, the biggest thing that happened in the second half, just not enough opportunities for the Carolina Panthers. They only ran 20 plays. I mean, that's unbelievable for that offense, as much as they control the flow of the game with their running game.
Larry Fitzgerald, 6 receptions, 151 yards in the first half. 2nd and 5, play action. Warner looking for Fitzgerald. Chris Gamble on the coverage.
That's the pressure they're talking about. John Fox was talking about bringing it up there. And you can pressure as a defense in both run and pass. It'll help you with the run and help you with the pass. Right here, our Cardinals go and they try to defend this Carolina Panther defense, but they bring more than they can carry and forces a bad throw. That's exactly what Carolina wants to do.
Cardinals, no 3 and outs in the first half. Warner, the slant on 3rd and 5, and the catch is made for a first down by Jeremy Urban.
Great job holding on to that ball. Both the linebackers walk up to the inside. Now, Kurt Warner is changing the play at the line of scrimmage. That allows some space for Jeremy Urban to work. There's John Beeson getting there, but you can see, no, it's actually Thomas Davis coming from that guard center area, but he's just a step late. Completion for the first down.
Gain of 8. 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line. James, penalty marker.
Here goes to Andrew James. Julius Peppers on tackle.
Holding, defense, number 92. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Damian Lewis.
Now trying to keep those offensive linemen from the Cardinals getting up to that 2nd level. Trying to get to that linebacker level. Damian Lewis is going to latch on, hold it to him.
You got to be really blatant on the defensive line in order to go and get this call. Right here, Damian Lewis goes. See his hand on the outside there. You can't go and grab and make it that blatant. You got to put it inside like an offensive lineman would and go and try and grab him or hold him up in that position. But if you had that hand on the outside, you're going to call it.
3 wide receivers, 1st and 10 from the 46. Again, Warner to Urban, but he will lose yardage. Brought down by Chris Harris, along with Thomas Davis, loss of 3 on the play. You know, we've talked a lot about the Cardinals' 0-5 record in the Eastern Time Zone. They're certainly tired of hearing about it, but the difference in this game, the prior 5 games were all at 1 o'clock Eastern. Tonight, a night game, so Kurt Warner told us yesterday he was going to use the same routine that he used to for the 2 Super Bowls he played in. Wake up in the morning, spend part of the day in meetings, studying, but then go back to sleep.
I don't think people understand how big of an advantage that is. Your body clock is completely out of whack for a 1 o'clock kickoff. They're waking you up at 5 a.m. and you're getting ready to kick off at 10 a.m.
Warner under pressure and took another hit, this time from Chris Harris.
Chris Harris comes right up the middle, finds a hole, gets right in Kurt Warner's face. That's where they want to attack him. Watch Kurt Warner here. He sees the blitz. He gets rid of the ball early, turns his shoulder. That's why it was an incomplete pass. That's the pressure they need to bring up the middle, right there.
Kind of puts Reggie Wells in a tough spot. He's going to have the safety running right through his gap. If he closes down on him, he's turning Julius Peppers loose to his quarterback.
Cardinals must get to the Panthers 44. Warner again under pressure, took another hit. This time Tyler Brayton.
We've seen more hits on Kurt Warner in this drive than we had the whole first half.
Goose, what can the Cardinals do to adjust?
Well, they got to just make better calls. The back has to go and come in. The offensive line has to play together. Right now, the Carolina Panthers are going and mixing it up, showing guys coming from the outside, the inside. They're not being a bunch of robots out there, and they're bringing the linebackers, what they need to do.
Ben Graham punting for only the 2nd time. Started the season with the Jets, also punted for New Orleans. Cardinals his 3rd team. Angling it toward the sideline, and a fair catch called for by Mark Jones at the 11. Cardinals by 20. Cardinals defense, 3 takeaways tonight. 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble. Panthers from their own 11 on 1st down. D'Angelo Williams. And Williams takes it all the way out to the 27-yard line, a gain of 15.
Well, there you go. Get D'Angelo Williams going one direction and allow him to cut back. You know, Cheeky O'Keefer has got to respond. He's got to be up this way for the bootleg. Look at the big cutback lane right there. Muhsin Mohammed down in the mix, blocking Adrian Wilson. We talked about it in the first half. Stay true to your game plan, coach. You're down 20, but you got time.
As I mentioned, Panthers have come back 3 times at home from double-digit deficits this season to win. From the 26, wide receiver screen to Muhammad. Forced out of bounds by Roderick Hood after a gain of 4. Second catch for Muhammad tonight. Not the original Moose.
Hey.
I'm saying he's not the original Moose.
Oh, no, I know that. Now, it is good to have him back here in Carolina.
I'm not the one who wouldn't sign the autograph. Oh, D'Angelo Williams. Hit for a loss of 3. Gerald Hayes, who had one of the interceptions earlier.
Well, one of the things that Clancy Pendergast is doing with his defensive line, he's narrowed their splits down inside, and he's not allowing them to get up to that linebacker level to get the blocks. Right there, Gerald Hayes able to run through and make the tackle. He's adjusted their splits in a little bit tighter, cover everybody down. The splits are the distance between the 2 defenders. Now, you're not going to be able to get a picture of it here because we're 3rd down. But in running downs, we'll show you how they've tightened everything back.
3rd down and 9. Panthers must get to the 36. Delhomme was hit as he got rid of the football by Antonio Smith.
Really sloppy by that offensive line, adjusting to a little game up here. You got to be able to go and pass that off a little bit better. Yeah, that was not good. Jeremy Briggs, I mean, he just goes and abandons it and lets somebody come around and get the pressure on Jake Delhomme.
Steve Preston back deep, awaiting Jason Baker's punt. Baker from his own 15. Preston met immediately. Terrific play downfield by the Panthers' leading special teams tackler this season, Richard Marshall. It has not been a happy birthday for Jake Delhomme. Panthers defense back out on the field. Cardinals leading 27-7. Fitzgerald in motion. From the 25-yard line, Warner on 1st down, complete to Fitzgerald. And Fitzgerald hard to bring down. Finally tackled after a gain of 6 for Fitzgerald, his 7th catch today.
But just doing some nice things from a formation and motion standpoint to get Larry Fitzgerald in one-on-one. Now, you heard Tony when he talked to John Fox coming out. You know, we're going to do some different things, but Todd Haley right now is 1 step ahead of the Carolina defense. They're in a personnel you would expect them to run the ball with. They motion them across, and they're getting them singled up.
James in the backfield, 2nd down and 4. Warner picked off by John Beeson. He was looking for Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald makes the tackle. First Cardinals turnover tonight.
There's the momentum swing that this Cardinals team did not want to see by these Carolina Panthers.
Looking left, comes back quick to the right. They go to the well one too many times right there. They have Larry Fitzgerald one-on-one. They're bringing J.J. Arrington into the flat. So Edgerrin James. So John Beeson is sliding out that direction to cover Edgerrin James as he goes on the flat route and goes right into the throwing lane.
Beeson, 3 interceptions during the regular season. From the Arizona 31, Smith split to the left, Muhammad to the right. Williams modeled up, wrapped up from behind by Dockett.
One of the dangerous things about D'Angelo Williams, he's a lot like Brian Westbrook. He gets up into the line of scrimmage, and you kind of lose track of him. That was a nice job by Arizona's front of making sure they don't get out of their lanes. They keep their responsibility. Antonio Smith, number 94, is in a good spot as he squeezes in from the backside. That allows your linebackers and your safeties to step up and make the tackle. Nobody over-pursued.
2nd down and 11. Smith now split wide to the right. Muhammad in motion to the left. And the play is blown dead.
A lot of gushing for a pre-snap.
Trying to determine whether the defensive guy drew the offensive guy off, maybe.
False start. Offense, number 47. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
The tight end, Jeff King.
Jeff King in the middle right there.
Oh, that should be on defense right there.
No,
that's a bad call.
No, but he didn't.
It doesn't matter. He made like he was coming off the ball. He went and tried to entice him to go and jump. Moose, come on.
I don't think I'm going to stick up for the defensive line on that one. I don't think you're going to get that call.
This is the first. Goose defending the offense, Moose defending the defense. Haven't heard that all season.
I've done it before. I've been there. I've done it before.
Second down at 16. Delhomme fakes the pass to Smith. And then looking for Smith, it deflects away. It's Antrell Rolle with the interception. Rolle scored a touchdown last week against Atlanta, and he takes this one all the way down to the 26 of the Carolina Panthers. A 48-yard return, the third interception, the fourth turnover by Delhomme today.
Trying to get the ball to Steve Smith on a slant. Tip there, tipped by Steve Smith. Antrell Rolle right there, moving up on the play, right into his hands and down the sideline. Well, Steve Smith hasn't had a catch all night. You're trying to get the ball to him. Is it a little pop screen? Now you're going to go a little bit of ad lib here. Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie gets a hand on it. Then Steve Smith tries to get his hand on it to make the catch. Pops up right to Antrell. Whoa, just a bad night.
Here's Edgerrin James as the Cardinals, for the third time tonight, begin a drive in Carolina territory. The result of the first two, both touchdowns.
Look at that defense. You know, at the top of the broadcast, I said that Arizona's defense could not play Carolina the same way they played Atlanta. Jake Delhomme has had great success in the playoffs. He's a veteran. He understands what's at stake here. Right now, I am completely wrong. They've kind of played the exact same style that they played against Atlanta. They generated 2 interceptions off of Matt Ryan. They've got 3 off of Jake Delhomme tonight.
And they had only 13 during the regular season. 13 interceptions, 5 in 2 playoff games. The screen to Fitzgerald. And Larry Fitzgerald picks up the first down. Gain of 10. On the other side, Darryl, Delhomme at home this season, as the Panthers went 8-0, was intercepted only 5 times in those 8 games. 3 times tonight.
Unbelievable. I mean, he doesn't know what hit him. Look at him. It's just every time he tries something, he's got almost as many interceptions as completions.
It's amazing how Kurt Warner can get the ball to Larry Fitzgerald any way he wants, but you know, Jake Delhomme can't get the ball to Steve Smith. They want to put it in Steve Smith's hand, but they just can't get it to him.
And the Cardinals doing it without Anquan Boldin. Penalty markers on first down.
I think that was on your fullback there, Darryl.
False start. Offense, number 45. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Penalty is called on the fullback, Terrell Smith.
I stick up for your defensive lineman trying to influence a guy to jump off sides, and you throw me under the bus.
You know,
like
it's
that?
tough when you put them fullbacks out there at receiver and split them out. They're like on an island out there. They don't really know. They want to go and hit somebody so hard, so that's why you get in the jumps.
No, you're trying to create a good matchup. You get a defensive tackle to come out there with him.
Tackles are very athletic.
You guys are getting feisty after 19 weeks together. First down at 15. James, nothing.
That's the 3rd time we've seen Edgerrin James try to cut it to the outside and he slipped. I don't know if he needs to change his feet or change the direction that he's running. We talked about him going and making his path right up the middle of the field, but right now he needs to change his shoes. He's getting 0 traction out there, and he's the only guy that I see that's slipping on the field when he's trying to make a cut. His feet look like they're underneath him, but I don't think he has long enough studs on those feet.
Too much spat.
Covered up.
James off to the sidelines for a breather, replaced by Hightower. 2nd and 15. Warner complete at the 15-yard line to Steve Breaston, a gain of 6.
Well, he's got a lot to choose from, Goose.
Yeah, they didn't know which one they wanted, but they brought a whole bunch out there. I mean, that guy came from the inside of the locker room 4 or 5 times with bundles of shoes. Edwin just seemed like he picked the wrong ones. I'm
going to check your bag on the way out of the stadium because I know all those shoes didn't make it back in the locker room.
You got a couple.
Edwin also has something that both of you have. I'll tell you about that in a moment. 3rd down and 10. And Warner's pass is behind the tight end, Steven Spock. Although Edgerrin James was not on the 2005 Colts, or the 2006 Colts, I should say, he left after the 2005 season. Went to the Cardinals in 06. Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, actually presented Edgerrin James with a Super Bowl ring, even though he was not on the championship winning team.
Well, he was such a big part of turning that Indianapolis franchise around and getting them to the level where they could compete for a Super Bowl, and just a very classy move by Jim Irsay and the entire Indianapolis Colts organization.
Just goes to show how much respect they have for that guy.
33-yard field goal. Neil Rackers extending the Arizona lead. They have now scored 20 of their 30 points off turnovers. Here's the last miscue. Deflected into the arms of Antrell Roll. Cardinals leading by 23, 30-7. John Fox hoping the Panthers can do what the Buffalo Bills did. They trailed the Houston Oilers by 32, largest deficit overcome in an NFL postseason game. Here's Mark Jones on the return for Carolina. And Jones brings it out to the 33, tackled by Calais Campbell. Ken Wisenhunt, Edgerrin James, Cardinals by 23. Just one of the many dejected Carolina Panther fans. Panthers have never overcome a deficit of more than 17 points in their history.
Yeah, but Arizona had never won on the East Coast this season.
That's right.
You never know.
Jake Delhomme and the Panthers from their own 33, off the play fake. Delhomme steps up and throws to a wide-open Dwayne Jarrett into Cardinals territory, 19-yard pickup.
With that hurry-up offense, something they need to do.
From the 48, Delhomme, Muhammad. Brought down by Rod Hood. Gain of 6.
Goose, your thoughts in this situation right now. You've got the big lead, and you've got the opposition jumping into the hurry-up. What do you want to do defensively? I mean, do you completely alter your game plan from everything you've done up until this point?
No, I like to bring pressure in this situation right here. Go and knock them down a little bit. Right now, Delhomme has a lot of time in the pocket, as you can see right here, and he's looking downfield.
On 2nd and 4, going deep for Muhammad. Rod Hood on the coverage.
You're talking about that prevent defense, Moose, that me and you both hate, only prevents you from winning. Something that we don't want to see out of this Carolina team or Arizona team, I mean.
So you guys agree on something?
Well, you played so well tonight, and you've been a little bit aggressive at times, but your defensive backs have played outstanding. You know, Steve Smith still doesn't have a catch. You know, you're one big threat out there. And now they're down to Tony's favorite thing, which is rushing 3. You might get Cheeky O'Keefe coming.
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be a spy man back there. They're coming up now.
From the 42, Delhomme off the hands of Muhammad. Again, Rod Hood on the coverage. Will the Panthers leave the offense on the field? 4th down and 4 from the Cardinals 42.
Oh, yeah. Jason Baker got about 3 steps onto the field, the punter, and got off pretty quick.
Panthers attempted the fewest 4th down to the league this season. They need to get to the Cardinals 38. 4 receivers. Delhomme on 4th down. Incomplete. intended for Muhammad.
That was two guys on two different wavelengths right there, Moose.
Was it just Moose and Muhammad stumbling coming out of the break? I mean, they sent Steve Smith down the seam. Watch 89 go down the seam. Now you're going to clear that area out. He's not ready for, you've got to delay your release a little bit to allow Steve to clear, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more urgency, but it looked like he just stumbled, went out of his break.
Cardinals take over on downs. Good field position once again. From their own 43, Tim Hightower. Hightower gaining just one. Charles Godfrey made the tackle.
Well, we've seen Arizona's playmakers step up, but for Carolina, Jake Delhomme just had a rough night tonight. 3 interceptions. Steve Smith, their big play guy, still without a catch. That's shocking to me. 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Steve Smith does not have a catch.
Third in the NFL in receiving yards. Led the Panthers with 78 receptions, averaged over 18 yards per reception during the regular season. Nothing tonight. Second down and 9. The toss to Hightower. Hightower out to midfield. Crosses midfield to the Panthers 49, a gain of 7. Hightower selected in the 5th round. He was not even invited to the combine, drafted by the Cardinals, and for a while he was the starter. There was a 7-game stretch toward the end of the season when Edgerrin James carried the ball only 7 times in 7 games.
Well, that's why he's got the fresh legs at this stage of the season. I mean, how many times has Edgerrin James felt this good in the month of January when he's played throughout his career?
Third down and 2. A quick pass to Early Doucette. And he's met by Chris Harris, who was ruled down at the 47-yard line before the ball came loose. So the Cardinals will send out the punting unit.
Chris Harris, what a hit he laid. Oh, man.
Well, he hits it on the fly, Goose.
Woo, I mean, it was a 10-yard sprint. Boom.
Oh. Nope, knees down.
Yeah, his knees down. I'm not surprised that that ball came out, though, because that was, I'll tell you what, you could hear it down here on the field. That was a collision.
First 3 and out for the Cardinals tonight. Graham punting from his own 38. Again, keeping it away from Jones. And it bounces into the end zone. 53-yard punt, net of 33. Giants and Eagles meeting in the playoffs for the 4th time back in 1981. NFC wildcard game, Giants win by 6. 2000 NFC Divisional, Giants by 10. And then the Eagles by a field goal in the 2006 wildcard game as David Akers wins it for Philadelphia. The winner of our game will meet the winner of the Giants and the Eagles for the NFC Championship next Sunday.
Well, we had a 6 knockoff of #1 earlier today.
It has never been done in the NFC. Number 6 are 0 for 9 against #1 seeds. D'Angelo Williams. Before the Ravens today, the only time number 6 seed knocked off for #1, the Pittsburgh Steelers did it twice on their run to the Super Bowl. With Ken Wisenhunt as their offensive coordinator, beat Indianapolis and then Seattle in the Super Bowl, the #1 seed in the NFC. Delhomme's pass is caught by guess who? Steve Smith. His first reception of the game with under a minute remaining in the 3rd quarter, and Smith gains 35 yards.
If they want a chance of winning this game, they got to find that guy more often. Watch what he does after he catches the ball. He gets hit, secures the ball, looks downfield, stays in bound, takes a peek inside to go and see if any defenders are coming, spins out, keeps the ball going. He is so dangerous after he catches the ball.
And now Delhomme over the middle to Rosario. Another Panthers first down, a gain of 14, and that will take us to the end of the third quarter. The only scoring in the third, a Neil Racker's field goal as the Cardinals extend their lead to 30-7. We'll return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we direct your attention to the West End Zone, where we would like to recognize the 8 national champions of the 2008-2009 NFL Pepsi Punt, Pass, and Kick program. Ray Anderson, the NFL's Executive Vice President of Football Operations, and John Rohr of Pepsi will congratulate the 8 national champions. The 8 9-year-old champions are Maura Hoying from Coldwater, Ohio, and Michael McCoy from Santa Ynez. In the 10-11 age group, Becca Alcozer from Belton, Texas, and Evan Delaney from Hadley, Massachusetts. The 12-13-year-old champions are Sarah Firestone from Mercersburg, Pennsylvania, and Ryan Garner from Dyer, Tennessee. And finally, the 14-15-year-old champions are Jessica Escalante from Santa Barbara, California, and Ronnie Gideon from Hallsville, Texas. The National Football League would like to thank all of the participants and volunteers who made the punt, pass, and kick a successful program in 2008. For more information about NFL youth programs, please visit the website at www.nflrush.com. Let's give our national champions one more round of applause. So our congratulations to the national champions.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a big accomplishment. That starts way back in the beginning of the season, and those young men and young women compete all the way through the year to get to this point. So that's quite an accomplishment. Congratulations to everybody.
What an accomplishment. The Arizona Cardinals, after falling behind 7-0, have scored the last 30 points as we begin the fourth quarter here in Charlotte. John Fox's Panthers have not lost at home this season.
They keep answering the questions. You know, we wanted to know, would they be able to handle the success of that first half? They come out, they outscore Carolina 3-0 in the third quarter.
On 1st and 10 from the 26, Delhomme fires. The catch is made by Rosario. A Panther first down, a gain of 12.
He's still slinging. Drifting to his left, off his back foot.
Yeah, doesn't have a good base throwing that ball, but he's completing them.
From the 14, inside handoff, D'Angelo Williams. And Williams is tackled from behind by Bertrand Berry after picking up 2. The Panthers have never lost their first playoff game. All 3 trips to the postseason, they've made it to the NFC Championship game. 2nd down and 8. Delhomme with time to the end zone. Looking for Williams. Carlos Dansby on the coverage.
He had D'Angelo Williams open immediately. I mean, he's offset to the right. He's releasing to the flat. The linebacker's coming inside out. He's got him right now. He's holding. That's an adjustment by D'Angelo Williams. That's not a wheel route. That's a guy who was open in the flat and was forced to turn upfield on the sideline.
Third down and 8. Empty backfield. Williams split to the left.
Middle of the field is wide open for a quarterback draw.
Not anymore.
Penalty flags.
Delay of game, offense, number 17, 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
John Fox not happy about that. That is just lack of awareness. You have a big giant number right in each end zone that tells you how much time you have, the play clock. I mean, it's gigantic. You got to be able to see that and get the ball off before it gets to 0.
It's the only thing in the end zone bigger than Tony.
True.
Third down and 13. Delhomme to the end zone. It is picked off by Ralph Brown, who had an interception in the wild card game against Atlanta last week. Delhomme's 4th interception today, tying his career high, the 5th Carolina turnover.
Unbelievable. Ralph Brown is playing him underneath the entire way. You can have confidence in a guy, but sometimes you got to know when it's just not there.
Eagles fans in attendance. They would host the Cardinals should both teams win.
Old NFC East fan.
From the 20, following the interception, the handoff to Hightower. And Hightower is forced back after a gain of 6.
Let's go back to that play. I don't think Jake Delhomme sees Steve Smith. He sees him, but he doesn't see all the defenders. The umpire's right there. I don't think his line of view or line of sight sees all the defenders there. I think he just throws to an area hoping that Steve Smith goes and catches the ball.
Look at now, he's back here. Come on, there's Ralph Brown right there. He's playing underneath coverage. No way. Bad. You can see him.
You had that crossing route. You had the umpire right there.
No way.
Jake Delhomme makes a bad decision, in my opinion.
Bad decision.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't agree it was a bad decision, but I don't think it's because it was blocked.
Yeah, but I think he just threw to an area thinking that, Steve Smith will get it.
All right, here's James. Ralph Brown, guys, 4 career playoff games, 3 interceptions.
Can't force the ball like that. Can't do it.
You know what? If that was his first one tonight, I'd let it go. I'd jump on your side and say it was, something happened. He didn't see this. He didn't see that. He's thrown into double coverage twice.
I think that, I'll tell you what, I think Arizona's doing a great job of getting in his vision and him not being able to see downfield.
Steven Spock is the injured Cardinal. Steven Spock, the injured Cardinal.
Able to walk off the field. That's big because talking to Todd Haley, he had the big catch last week to kind of ice that Atlanta game, but they've been searching for the tight end. They've had some guys in and out of the lineup. Leonard Pope. Steven Spock added some stability to the tight end spot, so hopefully he's all right.
Big target.
From the 30, Warner was in trouble, throws it away. John Beeson wanted a flag for intentional grounding. Again tomorrow, Eagles and the Giants. Pre-game show at noon Eastern. Again, if the Cardinals hang on, they would host the Eagles next week in Glendale should Philadelphia win, or they would travel to the Meadowlands to take on the Giants if the Giants win the game tomorrow.
Kurt Warner going back to the Meadowlands. Great story. Kurt Warner and the Arizona Cardinals hosting the NFC Championship game. Great story.
Elton Brown in as an extra blocker. Edgerrin James out to the 33. Kurt Warner started 9 games for the Giants back in 2004 before Eli Manning took over. Manning, of course, the MVP of Super Bowl 42. Kurt Warner tonight has passed for 218 yards. He and Jake Delhomme, teammates in NFL Europe 10 years ago. Warner the starter, Delhomme the backup. As Steven Spock heads off.
I thought we had some good news. We saw the injury. Didn't look too good at the start, but he walked off the field. We thought it was all right.
Sometimes that adrenaline will do crazy things to you, man. Make you feel like you're okay when you're really not.
Third down and 7. Warner intended for Fitzgerald.
23-point lead, Moose. You're still going to the air in the 4th quarter with 11:40 to go. I think you should put the ball on the ground a little bit, run it, try to run the clock out a little bit, don't you?
Well, they did. That third down, just trying to convert. I'm sure on 1st and 2nd down, they would have gone back to the running game. But, You know, that's the big challenge with this team. You know, they're not used to running the ball. Get into that 4-minute situation.
Rams punt, taken at the 23 by Jones. Jones out across the 30 to the 32-yard line. With 11.5 remaining, fourth quarter here in Charlotte. Back in Charlotte, Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa, the Carolina Panthers scored the game's first touchdown. The Arizona Cardinals with the next 30 points. Jake Delhomme, 4 interceptions, 5 turnovers on his 34th birthday. From the 31, Jonathan Stewart on the screen out of the backfield. And Stewart still on his feet, finally down at the 43-yard line after gaining 12. Delhomme on first down, nearly intercepted for a 5th time by Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
They got to definitely have a jump on something that he's doing with his wind-up or whatever. He's got a slow release or something, but those defensive backs are jumping him so fast.
He's like I agree, Tom. I mean, I don't know what it is.
I don't know if the Arizona Cardinals just know the routes so well, or they're just reading Jake Delhomme and his demeanor when he throws the ball.
Delhomme on second down. There it is, number 5. The 5th pick, Roderick Hood, comes up with the interception, the 6th Carolina turnover.
They definitely saw something on film, Moose, to go and get the jumps that they're getting. Because we saw it earlier, Jake Delhomme, we thought that he was throwing in a heavy coverage, but right here he's got double coverage again. And you can't throw these balls. It's just going to cost you.
I mean, he's only had one of the 5 that wasn't his fault. I mean, the one that came off the deflection with Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie and then off Steve Smith to Antrell Roll, that wasn't Jake's fault, but the other 4 are just terrible decisions.
Bad.
The last quarterback who was picked off 5 times in a playoff game, Rich Gannon in the Super Bowl back in January of 2003. Good, you remember Rich?
Yep.
Hightower to the 48. It's 11 p.m. here in the East. We are coming to you from Charlotte, North Carolina. Kenny Albert, Darryl Johnston, Tony Siragusa. The Arizona Cardinals have forced 6 Panther turnovers, all 6 committed by Jake Delhomme on his 34th birthday. Cardinals 0-5 in the Eastern time zone this year. Panthers 8-0 at home. What a game for Larry Fitzgerald. Cardinals playing without Anquan Bolden, their Pro Bowl wide receiver, inactive for the game tonight due to a hamstring injury. Here's Hightower, cuts to the outside on Harris. And Hightower tackled at the 42-yard line after picking up 6.
Well, it's been just a terrible birthday for Jake Delhomme. One hand on the ball in the pocket, protection breaks down. Here's the first bad decision in the red zone. There's another one thrown into coverage. That's the only one that I won't put on Jake. Another one in the red zone, double coverage. And then the last one, again, 2 Arizona defenders right by Moose and Muhammad. And 2 of these came in the red zone. The Carolina Panthers were the #1 red zone scoring offense in the NFL this season on a percentage basis.
Terrell Austin, the defensive back coach, I mean, he's done a great job with this secondary and them guys. You know, it's one thing when you get a ball thrown to you, but you still have to catch it. You see a lot of balls in the NFL dropped, but these guys haven't dropped anything from the Phoenix Cardinals, I'll tell you, today at all.
The Phoenix Cardinals, who's going back in the memory bank.
Showing your age.
I am.
Showing your age.
Los Angeles Rams, good thing I didn't say that, right?
At least you didn't go St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
Under 9 minutes remaining. Both Brown and Hood with interceptions tonight. Rodgers, Cromartie, Hayes, and Roll with the others. There's Larry Fitzgerald. 8 receptions, 166 yards, and a touchdown. From the 38, Hightower. Hightower down to the 31. The Cardinals guys, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals, since the merger in 1970, and they were playing in St. Louis through 87, the only team in the NFC that has not gone to the championship game since the merger.
How many superlatives?
That's a big. He's been waiting to pull that one out all day, Moose.
You know, there's been a couple tonight that they haven't pulled the switch on.
I like the sound effects now with the. It's nice. That's the Nugget alert.
Even the Nugget alert is in Cardinal colors.
You hear that? Everybody at home, that means that that's one of the big Nugget alerts for Kenny Albert.
One of those obscure facts that nobody in the world knows but Kenny Albert.
Well, the other 15 NFC teams, even the Detroit Lions, the
I don't know,
15 have
Lou
all
knows
gone.
a couple.
Lou Tribbiani down on the field with Tony. Todd Haley on the left. What a job he has done tonight. Cardinals offensive coordinator.
Hey, Goose, how big is this game, this performance, for a team that's going to be in the championship game unless, you know, something ridiculously miraculous occurs in the next 7+ minutes? I mean, whether it's Philly or New York, I mean, they've stopped Atlanta's running game. They shut down Carolina's running game today. They're forcing turnovers at an unbelievable rate.
You know, they're really putting a lot of pressure on the secondary, too, with putting 5 and 6 guys on the line of scrimmage, 8 guys in the box. I mean, you got a lot of man-to-man coverage, and the linebackers are doing a great job of going and dropping. And the coverage guys are making the interceptions. They're doing a great job of going and reading what they're getting and knowing where the ball is going.
Giants, Eagles tomorrow. We worked their last meeting. Who do you like?
It's going to be a great game, and for some reason I think Giants. I don't know. I just doing that game. I remember the plays that New York had an opportunity to make. They played very uncharacteristic football that afternoon, and Philadelphia took advantage of it.
I'll tell you what, Moose, no one's playing hotter than the Philadelphia Eagles right now, though.
It is so hard to go against Philadelphia right now. Finishing the season and just whipping Dallas.
Ever since they sat Donovan, he's had something to prove, and I'll tell you what, they played unbelievable. Now, those two teams match up so well. Backyard brawl.
Well, barring a miraculous comeback over the next 6:09, it will be the Arizona Cardinals advancing to the NFC Championship game. They will either travel to New York or host the Philadelphia Eagles. Bruce talked about the Eagles' success since the benching of Donovan McNabb. Gives to Hightower, and he's met in the backfield by Marake Kimoyatu. Loss of 3. Timeout is called by Carolina.
There you go, Goose. You came on the air saying if they choose to run the ball, they got a shot, and if they don't, they're going to be sitting at home watching the championship game with you.
Well, I'll tell you what, they've done a great job with the running game, and you know what? It opened a lot of things up for Kurt Warner and that passing, offense. All of a sudden, you see a lot of play action today. You kept Carolina, we talked about it earlier, on their heels. They didn't know when they came to the line of scrimmage whether it was going to be pass or run. You had a couple little misdirection plays in there. That's all a part of a whole offensive scheme that we saw today. Todd did a great job, the offensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, now they've been in a situation where ball more to take time off the clock, but early in the game, even with their personnel groups, they committed to being patient and forcing Carolina to respect the run.
That's the one thing. We didn't see them quit on the run game. If they got 1 yard or lost 1 yard, they stuck with it every series, and I think it really paid off for them. And now teams that play them, whether it's going to be the Eagles or the Giants, have to go and prepare for the run. They just don't have to go and sit back there and say, well, we got to stop Larry Fitzgerald or Anquan Bolden if he plays. Now we got to go and worry about the run and that offensive line. They did a tremendous job today on this Carolina's defensive line.
And Goose, a prime example on that last play, 3rd down and 9. Hightower gained 17.
Well, it was the big question. The guys at the halftime show, Michael Strahan, can Arizona, if they put themselves in a position, play 4-minute football? Can they run the clock out running the football. I agree, Goose. They've shown their next opponent that, you know what, we're not the team that you saw in late November and early December.
You know, Moose, we talked about an identity. Every team in the playoffs right now has an identity, and we talked about Arizona. We really didn't know what their identity was. Over the last 3 games, from Seattle, now, and now with the run game that they have, and sticking with the run, now we know that they're a 2-dimensional team and not just an air-out team.
144 yards on the ground for the Cardinals tonight, and they hope to have Anquan Bolden back next week.
Well, just smart tonight. You know, he wasn't ready. He was physically unable to play. Sit him down, hope your team performs well, and you get a shot at the championship game.
Hightower.
I tell you, one of the things they got to work on, Goose, is when they get into short yardage and goal line personnel, is find a way for the guards not to step on Kurt Warner's feet.
Yeah, they got to move up more on the line of scrimmage. Because Kurt has been hit more by his guards than I think anybody on Carolina today. He's been tripped up 3 times, we saw.
His feet are going to be so sore flying home.
Cardinals might be able to fly home without the airplane.
Very nice, Kenny.
Nice.
It's a nice metaphor. Creates a nice image.
Kurt Warner heading to his 3rd NFC Championship game. Went twice with the Rams. Won both. Hightower inside the 5. And down to the 3. Up next for the Cardinals, either the New York Giants on the road. Cardinals lost to the Giants at home 37-29 back in late November, or the Eagles at home, and that was the only game the Cardinals played on the East Coast not at 1 p.m. Thanksgiving night.
Might as well.
All Eagles.
Man, that was completely Eagles. Now, we saw the Giant game, and there was 2 huge special teams plays by Dominic Hickson. Big, long kickoff returns that really kind of changed the dynamic of that game. And Kurt Warner has said, you know, that Philadelphia played them defensively. That really kind of exposed them, you know, when they weren't running the football. But now, again, with this, you know, if it is Arizona, Philadelphia, does Jim Johnson have to change how he defended this offense on Thanksgiving night, because he's got to respect the run?
Giants, Eagles tomorrow. Eagles 5-1 since the return of Donovan McNabb following his benching during the game against Baltimore. McNabb 10 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions during that stretch. Yard attempt. Bill Rackers. 33-7, Arizona. Well, Darryl, you mentioned Warner could potentially play against his former team, the Giants. He also faced the Eagles in the NFC Championship game back in January of '02 as the Rams defeated Philadelphia, advanced to the Super Bowl where they were beaten by New England. In the AFC, congratulations to the Baltimore Ravens, who knock off the #1 seed on the road.
Well, you know, there's some reason for Philadelphia fans to have hope. You know, it's never happened in the NFC, but we've had it happen twice in the AFC now. And a defensive battle, you can see some of the statistics, but Derek Mason, a huge catch for a touchdown. Look at Ray Lewis, Goose, 11 tackles, 1 forced fumble. That guy is...
How about that guy, though?
Yeah.
How about that guy right there, a quarterback? Haven't had a quarterback in Baltimore in a long time, since he won the Super Bowl. Just go out there, Joe Flacco, talking to the guys back in Baltimore, said he's just an even-keeled guy, doesn't get high, doesn't get real high and emotional, doesn't get real low. I mean, just even-keeled, sort of, you know, like Eli Manning in New York. You know, everyone talked about him last year and about his demeanor, and we're a little bit upset halfway through the season, and, you know, it just seems to work for quarterbacks.
This win for the Cardinals tonight, short kickoff by Rackers. And it's Brad Hoover who falls on it. This will be the 4th win in 6 playoff games this season by the visiting team.
It's been bizarre. I mean, it really has. And, you know, the thing that I like about it, there was a lot of people who were talking about, you know, the 9-7 Arizona Cardinals, the 8-8 San Diego Chargers, and we need to reformat the way we're doing our playoffs because New England was out of the mix at 11-5. And here's Arizona, a team that a lot of people didn't want in the playoffs because of how they played down the stretch. San Diego played themselves back into contention, knocks off Indianapolis last weekend, traveling up to Pittsburgh. So just leave it alone. I mean, it's nonsensical for somebody to take somebody that wins a division and want to remove them from the playoff picture.
Delhomme complete to Arrington. Not only did the Cardinals win their division, they won all 6 division games. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the only other team, Wizard Hunt's former club, to go 6-0 in the division. And the Cardinals less than 3 minutes away from advancing to the NFC Championship game. Cardinals, for the first time in their franchise history, will win 2 playoff games in the same postseason.
And again, they've done this against 2 teams from the strongest division in the NFL. The NFC South, as a group, won 40 games this year. They did better than the NFC East, the AFC East, the AFC South. You know, all these divisions that got all the notoriety during the course of the season. It ended up being the NFC South with the best combined winning total. And Ken Wisenhunt and the Arizona Cardinals have taken down Atlanta and Carolina.
Doesn't seem like that week off has helped anybody so far. At least today it hasn't, with Tennessee and Carolina.
Delhomme's pass complete out across the 40 to Muhammad, a gain of 11.
I've never had that luxury, Moose, and I know you have, having that week off. Did you like having the week off, or would you have rather played right through?
You know, only one time, Tony, did we have a situation where we had kind of clinched and we had to sit guys. The other 2 times, we had to play football, you know, into week 17. You know, one of the years it was, you know, winner take all at the Meadowlands versus the Giants in the last week of the season. Winner gets the top seed and the first round bye. Loser goes on the road as a wild card to San Francisco. And then we actually went out and had to beat the Arizona Cardinals on their field on Christmas Day to get back home field advantage the last time we went. So we had to play through all the way. The byes for us, fantastic. You know, Jimmy Johnson did a great job with our practice schedules. You know, let the guys get some rest, but you know, we moved around, worked hard, and it was a huge incentive back then. I mean, there were statistics that backed it up. The #1 seed never lost back in the day.
Stewart down the sideline, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning in Charlotte. Cardinals 33 consecutive points, 6 turnovers by Jake Delhomme. Kurt Warner and the Director of Public Relations does a great job. Mark Dalk, Vice President of Media Relations. Our thanks to Mark and his counterpart Charlie Dayton of the Carolina Panthers. Delhomme going deep for Rosario. Our thanks as well to our entire crew. They've done such a great job the entire season, led by producer Pete Macheska. As we take another look, our director Michael Frank, associate directors Fran Morrison and Jeremy Green, associate producer Chirag Devaskar, our technical producer Dan Rotante, technical director Chris Castro. The senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. Thanks to Dave Corris, Ben Boma, Lou Tribbiani, Matt Benedict, Ricky Camps, and Barry Landis, who was with us over the first half of the season. 2nd and 10. Delhomme, complete Muhammad, out of bounds at the 21.
Yeah, they didn't get to have very many moose calls today.
No, I think we had more in the booth.
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw was chanting moose at halftime. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, Jimmy. The AT&T postgame coming up. How about Michael Strahan during the halftime report, referring to Larry Fitzgerald as the Michael Jordan of the Arizona Cardinals.
Well, you know what? When the ball is in the air, it's Larry Fitzgerald. I mean, it happens too often. I mean, at least once a game. We saw it last week at Atlanta to jumpstart the offense. He had another big one tonight to jumpstart the offense. And really, this Arizona team, their defense has played outstanding the last 2 weeks. And Clancy Pendergast has done a great job. They have generated 7 interceptions. having only 13 for the entire season coming in. But I really feel that it's the offense that really kind of jump starts this entire team. They need something big to happen. You know, hopefully they've exercised some of these issues with the win on the East Coast, you know, breaking the 8-0 streak here by Carolina, the running game and how well it performed tonight. You know, go back and start crossing stuff off your list of what people said you were unable to do.
I'll tell you what, though, Moose, they did shut down that run.
Oh, the defense has been fantastic.
Unbelievable. That defensive line occupied that Carolina offensive line, kept them on the line of scrimmage, never let them get to the second level, and those linebackers, they did a fabulous job of just shutting down the run.
And how about last week, Goose? You know, you're starting the second half, you've played well, but you're down 17-14 to Atlanta. And the play that Darnell Dockett makes to knock that fumble loose, and Antrell Roll takes it in for the touchdown, and it was kind of, you know, they really grabbed control at that point. And hopefully we'll see Anquan Bolden on the field next week in the championship game. I like John Fox's response. You know, when you play a team like this and they have a player of that caliber, you want to knock them off with their best players on the field. So hopefully Anquan Bolden will be able to rejoin his teammates next week in the championship game.
First and goal for the Panthers from the 8. Under 1 minute remaining. Steve Smith. Smith into the end zone. Only a second reception. And he has the Panthers' second touchdown of the game.
Great competitor. Great competitor. Tony was kind of kidding with him before the game. And he said, come on, smile, smile. And he wouldn't smile. He said, I don't smile when the game's going on. And you can see what a fierce competitor he is, even with the game in this situation.
It's all business when he steps on the field. You're absolutely right. And it just gives him credit right there. You know, you're down by umpteen points, and you're still fighting to go and get into the end zone and not quitting.
With that Pitt education, it's only 20.
Syracuse.
We may not be good in football, but we can have you some trap.
You got calculators, that's why.
2-point conversion, incomplete, intended for D'Angelo Williams.
Show him what a pie face is, Goose. Take that. You know, it's been a great year for Carolina. They really bounced back. Jake Delhomme, stability during the season. Tough night tonight on his birthday. But they're moving in the right direction. A lot of changes on this offense. Paid huge dividends for him throughout the year. Tough thing is that NFC South. My goodness. Tough division.
Last season, Panthers 7-9. They used 4 different starting quarterbacks. After Delhomme suffered the elbow injury, bounce back, go 12-4. Win a tough division, as you mentioned. With that touchdown scored by Steve Smith. Panthers scored on their first drive tonight, so they go 56 minutes between touchdowns. And during that time, they're outscored by the Cardinals 33-0.
How easy was that opening drive by Carolina? Big kickoff return, big run by D'Angelo Williams. Jonathan Stewart finishes it with a 9-yard touchdown run. I mean, it was just like, uh-oh, look out. Arizona on the East Coast, this could be ugly.
Timeout called by the Cardinals as John Casey sets up for the onside kick. 50 seconds remaining here in Charlotte.
But how long till 24?
Only on Fox. We are less than 21 hours away from 24. Start the countdown.
Start the countdown.
There's Sean Moore. He's heading to the Pro Bowl as a special teamer. Also headed to the NFC Championship game. Will it be the Eagles at home or the Giants on the road? Guess who? Larry Fitzgerald. So that will put the exclamation point on Larry Fitzgerald's night. 8 receptions, 166 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 recovery of an onside kick.
What a night. He was open all night long. They were running the deep crossing routes. But again, one of his just circus catches early in the game. to kind of jumpstart this entire offense, the entire team. And there's the one that they were getting them on, that deep crossing route, the second tier. Great effort here to get inside the pylon.
I have one more for you, Darryl. This will be only the 6th time in league history in the postseason that a team with a losing record on the road beats a team that went undefeated at home.
I got to think too much for that one.
Cardinals 3-5 on the road.
The too much thing.
Beat the Panthers.
The smoke coming out of my ears.
6th time in league history. Last time it happened, the 97 season, Denver beat Kansas City. The Arizona Cardinals are headed to the NFC Championship game. They do it without Anquan Boldin. The Cardinals defeat the Carolina Panthers in improbable fashion by the score of 33-13. The former teammates in NFL Europe, Kurt Warner and Jake Delhomme. The Cardinals, with their 2nd win of this postseason, they will play the winner of the Giants and the Eagles. Jake Delhomme threw 5 interceptions, committed 6 turnovers in the game. Panthers, a disappointing ending to a terrific season. They finished 12-4, but their season comes to an end on a rainy night here in Charlotte. Congratulations to Ken Whisenhunt and the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals celebration has just begun. Much more to come from Charlotte after these messages.